I just felt like I had a fever, I had a headache, I wasn't hydrated, I was sick. Yeah, I had COVID. I had COVID. It wasn't fun. Yeah, it's not fun.
Sick, sick. How's everything been, man? It's been a while. It feels like forever. It literally feels like forever, Christian.
It literally does, hey. Because it's been 3 weeks?
Yeah.
Nah. It's been 3 weeks, yeah. It's been 3 weeks, Christmas. Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
Likewise.
2nd of January, 2022. Wow, 2021. Shocking year for everything. Shocking year. But 2022, how's everything been? How was the New Year? How was Christmas? How are you feeling for 2022?
Christmas has been pretty good. I feel like 2021 has been just a lot of just like prep. Everything has been just prep work for the future. I don't know, the last few 2-3 weeks have been really, really exhausting, not gonna lie. Had like a few shifts in the business, doing a lot of selling, a lot of sort of just doing everything myself, trying to really push the company forward. So it's been really, really exhausting, not gonna lie.
Yeah, especially like working during that time, Christmas, and like it feels like it is a holiday, let's be real. Like everyone's kind of holidaying, everyone's not sort of working in between here and there. So you're like just like props to you for grinding it out. I wouldn't have been able to do it. Like, was there a lot of things that you did that like huge upheavals, or was it just like niggling things that were like in the back of you, like on your back?
It's just been, I've been rebuilding everything. One new thing I've sort of built that I'd love to like get your thoughts on is with the program, it's sort of like a book. People would buy a book and they would not read the book. They'll just leave it on the shelf. So the same thing was happening with our program, where people would join and they just wouldn't do the work. Yes, it was good on me because like now I didn't have to worry about them and I got paid, but they didn't do the work. I'm not getting the success stories I'm getting, and it's not that fulfilling. Like I want to create success stories. I want to actually help people. So I was like, okay, what's the key thing that leads to people getting results? So the key thing was them having to test products. Okay, how many products do they have to test? Well, you're looking at probably around 70 to 100 products that you have to test. Okay, why they're not testing 70 to 100 products? Because it's pretty hard to be motivated for that long. So I was like, okay, why don't I just pay people that key metric? Why don't I sort of align the sort of incentives and pay them to test products? So I created a system where they can deposit $5,000 into Stripe, and every single product they test will pay them $35. So if they test 143 products and my strategy doesn't work and they don't make more than $10,000 in sales, they would have gotten their $5,000 back. And if they test 50 products and they found a winner, 50 products in, would have paid them, say, $1,750. They got that winning product. Now they've probably made another $20,000 plus on profit, and we keep the remaining amount in the balance now that they've succeeded. So that was like a huge light bulb moment. I thought it was going to change the whole game. But then, so I've been just trying to implement that over the last few weeks. I think, a bit from confusion, a bit to people not understanding, a bit to $5,000 is still a lot of money, to like, okay, I can do it. Like, let me pay and then just give me a few days and then I get back to you. So I thought I had this breakthrough, and it's easier. I'm getting close to something new, but it's still, I'm not there yet. I haven't broken through yet, and it's annoying. It's so annoying, Christian. I'm going to let it out there. Like, I'm so pissed. Like, I've been just pushing, trying new things, and it's annoying. And one thing I've been learning to do more is just be blunt. Like, if I'm pissed, I'm pissed. And then I let it out there. I can't just bottle it up, which I usually do. But that's up down my end. How's everything on your end, Christian?
Yeah, shit. So, well, for my end, nothing much. I mean, it's just been holidays, just a lot of eating and sleeping. I mean, it's been my holidays for a while now, but with family all around and everything, and then Christmas, and it's getting a bit crazy in New South Wales, trying to go outside and everything, but Yeah, I mean, it doesn't help. I mean, I'm assuming that you haven't been outside much either, like as much as you would have wanted to with like as many cases, right? So you're just like at home working with all this pent up and built up frustration, and you're just like nothing's working. But it's interesting because that incentive sort of system have you seen it working in like other business models or similar business models? Like, is it something that's common? Because it's a big thing trying to run an incentive based sort of implement an incentive based scheme into your business, right? It's because at the end of the day, it's they pay for their services whether or not they use it or not. It's up to them, right? And then you're providing an incentive for them, your money which you've earned to them. So it's like it's different, isn't it? So like, were you nervous about going forward with that, or was it like you just thought I'll give it a try? Are you going to stick through with it?
So, like, when I came up with the idea, I was like I'm onto something. This makes sense because now it's like a win-win situation. Literally, like Krishn, you come in and test 140 products, and if my strategy doesn't work, you don't make more than $20,000, I give you your money back. So yeah. I then brought someone in that next day. I was like, wow, I'm onto something. And then it just fizzled off. And I was like, what the f-? Like, I got a false sense of like I'm onto something because someone actually joined, like my first person joined at that, but then just sort of fizzled off. And I think like I learned things because like I changed it from like a sales process to now it's an interview. Like, I don't want to do this with 5 people. You tell me why you'd be a great fit for this, because I know I have something that's like a really win-win situation. Like, I don't really need to convince you anymore. So you tell me why you're a good fit. That sort of made sense. Did like a 15-minute interview. Then I'd book them into like a second 30-minute interview to let them know if they're sort of one of the 5 and really see if they're qualified and they could actually put in the work, because if they don't, we don't get paid. And then I think what I recently learned is like from the 15-minute, they'll be like, wow, this is amazing. They'll be super down. But then they would change their mind from the next booking time, the next interview. So there was like the tension would build up. They'll be like, yeah, this is something I really want to do. But then 2-3 days later down the road, that sort of tension is now gone, and they're like back to doing what they're doing, back to old habits. So I was like, okay, the recent pivot I just did today was, okay, I'm just going to combine these these 2 interviews, 15, 30, just cram into one 45-minute interview. So that's what I'm doing now, and we'll see how that goes. But like, it's pretty annoying. Like, sometimes I'm like, maybe I should just like give it out for free. Just like, everyone have it for free. I want to help more people. Like, just have it for free. And I don't want to sell anymore, Krishn. I don't want to convince people that I have a good product when I know it's a good product. And when people don't say they don't want it, I'm getting like identity crisis where I'm like, is my product not good? So it's annoying.
Yeah, like it just puts you in a situation where you second guess everything. You second guess, your business, your whole everything. But that's such a tough situation to be in, especially over Christmas. You're like getting bogged down. How have you been relieving stress? How have you been though? Have you been keeping yourself in check? Have you been, making sure that you're not letting yourself get overheated as much as you'd like to? I know you said that you've been bottling it up, but like, surely you got to be. There's no way you can keep this like pent up and just locked in. It's so much. It's like, even near me hearing, I'm like, that's a big issue. That's a huge issue. You know what I mean? So it's like, I'm stumped. I'm honestly stumped. I don't know what to. We'd need to have a talk about it properly in person. You know what I mean? So that I can learn more about it and everything. But yeah, like for a few weeks now, it's just been playing at you. It's just because you were working on Boxing Day as well. I was like, take a day off. Take a day off. It's okay. God.
I was like, I caught up with a friend, and we sort of did like a cool trip down south. Went to this place called To Avon Dam. It's a pretty nice day, just like spent the day hiking, exploring. And then he told me something. He said, dude, you like sort of run around in circles when you want to sort of slightly critique someone. Like you bring up metaphors, like you should just go straight to the point. And since we're close friends, like I can do that with him. And then I started being direct and blunt and just sort of going straight to the point, and it was like much better, less tiring. Like, that's sort of what I want to start doing more. If I don't agree with something, I should just say, I don't disagree, not silently listen, which I sort of usually do. So that's been a big pivot. And I'm really excited to like try that in person with more and more people and see what happens. Just trying to be more blunt, but obviously still be nice, still be me. But then not try to be too nice where I'm just silently listening and bottling up all these thoughts. Like if I'm like, dude, that's stupid, I don't agree with that at all, I should say that. I don't know. What's your thoughts, Krishn?
How would you deal with it if someone said it to you? How would you deal with it if someone said it to you from an outside perspective? And like, say you're just telling them about something, and then they don't understand the intricacies of like why you feel a certain way about something, and then someone says to you, "That's just stupid." Like NFC is like, would you? I mean, I'm in the same boat. I spent a lot of money on mine as well, right? Like, dude, why would you buy an NFT? Like, you're just dumb as hell. Like, they just tell you what they feel, and then like, like you have a reason maybe behind doing it, but they don't know, and it's kind of like, it's very confronting and it's very like in your face that it can trigger you, and it can just be like, shit, this is what happens when someone's blunt, you know what I mean? Like, this is what happens. Like, it just goes downhill without like properly understanding, or like, look, you can put it down to ignorance as well for some people, you know what I mean? Because that's what they say, ignorance is bliss. You know what I mean? If you don't know much about something, it's like, it doesn't affect you as much, right? But if someone just comments on something that or like you're doing, like your business, like someone just says, bro, why are you going to give it to people for free? Like, what are you doing? Like, you know what I mean? They don't understand, right? And then you'll just be like, do you know what I'm trying to say? So it's like, how would you deal with it if someone is like really blunt with you with like no consideration as to your perspective and how you feel, you know what I mean? So it's like, you got to find that balance, see, yeah, it's a seesaw, right? You got to find the perfect balance.
But if someone was blunt to me, one, if it was like stupidly blunt, like, dude, why do you work, or why do you have a business? Like, if they're so ignorant, most likely they're not going to be in my circle. But two, if they are in my circle and they are bluntly telling me something, and if I disagree with it, I'll just tell them I disagree, and we'll have like a sort of educated argument. And yeah.
So for me, I don't know, if someone was really blunt to me, I'd just be like, yeah, you know what, fair enough, I respect you for coming up, but not everyone will see it that way. That's why you gotta put yourself in that situation where you're on the receiving end, because everyone's personality is different. So if you say something quite confronting and open and honest about someone, or something they're doing, or something they're saying, or anything, that negative reaction can just come on you like that, and as a result, it's just, because I stray away from I'm not a people pleaser. I don't want to please. It's not that I go out of my way to please people, but I would go out of my way to avoid confrontation if it's a confrontation which isn't necessary, or if it's not going to if it's not like vital, or if it's just something niggling, I'll just be like, yeah, I'm not going to say anything, because it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it's just nothing. It's just water under the bridge. But if it's something that impacts me, or if it's something I believe in very deeply, then I'll be like, yeah, look, this is what I think, or like, yeah, nah, I don't agree. Yeah, nah. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I feel I would do in that situation.
Yeah, I disagree. No jokes.
No, that's fair. If you disagree,
I agree. I disagree. If something's niggling, I want to clear it now. Like, no more putting niggling shit under the rug because it builds up. I'm just like letting out. But you're right. Like, if it doesn't affect me and it's not niggling at me, then I'm not going to say something. Yeah. But if it's low key there, like, I have so limited energy now that I can't let 1% of my brain worry about a niggling little thing in a relationship.
Yeah. I mean, you got a million things going in your head. You got a million responsibilities. I completely agree. It's like, it's a waste of time at that point to be able to just, sweep it under and then keep it under a backlog, essentially. Like, your brain's just a backlog of just shit going everywhere. You remember certain things, you point things out, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not in that situation. So yeah, I 100%. I mean, it's different for everyone. So like, if something was niggling me, yeah, is what it is. it's just like just sweep it under. Like it depends on the situation, but that's honestly my thoughts on it.
I've been sort of realizing that this is something I've been thinking about a lot. Kanye and Drake, where like Kanye is just rude. He's not rude, but he's like this crazy person that just says what he thinks, and Drake is this like picture perfect sort of. He's like the lover boy. He's like perfect. But then a lot of like rappers like think that he's really fake. Like he's like putting on like this sort of facade and just outwardly nice. And I realized that I sort of maybe have been doing that, where being too nice, where you're sort of to a point where you're like, does this guy have like an agenda, or is this guy like, is he like, I don't know how to explain it. Well, I'll talk about the second thing and maybe that'll aid into the first thing. The second thing, I realized that on the journey of sort of finding who you are, I sort of broken it up into these 3 parts that I realized that I sort of went through. Part 1 was just sort of being a listener, sort of listening to people and sort of taking other people's world views in and seeing others' sort of opinions. And you sort of got to listen, show empathy, see where other people are coming from and their point of view and their perspective. Then part 2 is now that you're sort of listening to people, you continue to listen to people, but now you're starting to build your own worldview, start to build your own perspective, have your own thoughts on things. And you're sort of working on that and you're sort of keeping it to yourself because it's not ready enough for you to sort of show to the world. Because if you start sharing it to the world and you don't have conviction around what you're saying, it's going to get crushed. People are going to say, what the f***? And your ego is going to get hurt. And then now the version of you got built has crushed. So that's phase 2. And phase 3 is transitioning from that listening phase to start sharing your worldview, sharing your perspective, bringing people into your world, letting people experience what you experience on a day-to-day basis. And that's sort of what I was like, oh, wow, like this is sort of the next stage. Because all I've been doing is listening to other people, hearing people's perspectives, and like in my mind, like their life is pretty boring, but I haven't had that confidence in myself to sort of just bring them into my world and just do the shit I want to do. And then I started slowly doing that more and more, and I'm able to like, 1, do things that I enjoy, and 2, have them enjoy the things that I enjoy. But I've had to build up a level of conviction and confidence around that to sort of share it. And sort of this version is going to be more blunt, more me, more like I'm no longer silently listening and hearing other people's boring sort of conversations about their lives. I'm like, that's boring. This is what we should talk about. Now, obviously that sounds really egotistical, and I'm still going to be the kind sort of person that I am and then want to hear and be interested in other people. But once it gets freaking boring, I'm going to say, yo, like, what's your thoughts on this and that? And sort of swerve the conversation and let's do this and that. So that's the second part of the first part question.
Yeah, no, okay, that makes more sense now. But yeah, like, you can ruffle some feathers if you do that. You know what I mean? Because if you're having a heart-to-heart with someone and then you're like, yo, look, shut the fuck up, I'm just gonna start talking about this. It ruffles some feathers, and it's, look, you found yourself. You're going on this journey. You're a lot more confident, and as you should be, because confidence comes from overcoming your insecurities, or some small things that you need to focus on yourself, and as a result, you're more confident in your beliefs and everything around you, and that's why you're able to do that, right? And you've been working on that for like, I'd say close to a year now. I'd say close to a year now from when we started this journey to where you are now. Like it's the end product. I feel like we've come to the end product, and that's great. You know what I mean? So how's that made you feel though? Like, do you obviously feel like there's a lot of weight lifted off your shoulders because you can just bring people into your world now that you're no longer a passenger in your own life. You're leading your own life. You're leading life on your own terms, and that's what you should always be doing. You know what I mean? But yeah, as a person, I'm indifferent. So I don't really know where I fit into that. If I'm more of a provider, if that makes sense. Like I'll be willing to listen. Someone talks to me about whatever. I'm not gonna sort of Yeah, I'm just more of a listener. I'd say I'm more of a listener. I don't really like to let people in too close. I listen more, and I feel, and I empathize, and I understand. But yeah, it's hard because I could never do. I don't know. It depends. It's a very intricate topic. You know what I mean?
Let's
We're
break
able
that
to do
down,
that.
Christian. Let's break it down because I do feel like as I'm sort of going on this journey, and I share it all with you on these sort of weekly episodes, I do feel like a disconnect where I'm sort of like on this weird up and down journeys, and I'm going through these ups, these downs. I'm feeling depressed. I'm questioning myself, and then you're like an amazing listener, and you're sort of like this therapist on the side. So it becomes this therapist sort of
Yeah, this does feel like therapy
it's
sometimes.
like not this like this sort of friendship relationship where we're both talking about our journeys, both talking about ups and downs. And it does sort of feel one way when you're like sort of my therapist, which is good at sometimes and is like a bit weird at sometimes when I'm like going through this cool journey. And then Christian's just like the therapist listening, and he's like, yeah, that's good, man, that's good. And it is weird. And back to your original question, being able to be blunt and tell you stuff like this, Christian, to break the ice is so relieving. Not having to not having to just leave that niggling thought there and just being able to just tell you. And I think I had to build a level of confidence to do that, to be like, yo, Christian, why do we have this weird therapist-patient relationship? And let's break this down so that we can bond on a deeper level.
Yeah, definitely. No, it has felt like therapy for a while. I'm not even gonna lie about that. But yeah, that's true. I really don't have much to break it down into it because I like to keep it private. I don't like to talk about it on air and everything. So I'm not going to say it on the podcast at all. I'm not going to say anything about my personal life in this situation,
Now,
or like any sort of situation like that. Yeah.
But if we do link up, is that a possibility for you to like be more?
Oh, of course. Yeah, no, in person, 100%. I've told you everything in person. I don't tell anyone. Like in person is completely different. I'm sure it's with you as well. With anyone, whether it's like have a chat with them on the phone or like anything else. But in person, it's a lot. It becomes like it's real. You know what I mean? Like it's not.
All right. Well, when we catch up in person, Christian, I want to hear about your life and your journey. We won't do it on the podcast. We won't sort of make it public. But when you're in person, Christian, I'm gonna be straight up with a Christian. I want to hear what's up on your end. I want to hear about your journey. I want to hear about the ups and downs. And that's what we're going to do the next time we meet up. How does that sound? Or is that uncomfortable?
No. I would appreciate that as well. I just need to get out of the house. You know what I mean? Because yeah, I had COVID. I had COVID.
Yeah, how was that? Was it Omicron variant or was it a different variant?
They don't tell you. New South Wales Health, honestly, they are the worst government agency to absolutely deal with. So I got it. So I went to an event. When was it? Saturday the 11th. I went to an event, and then that's when like everyone was sort of like ready to get out. Like the the non-vaccinated and the vaccinated are all gonna like combine into one. So I went to an event on Saturday, and it was red hot, and I was like, oh, I might get it there because there's a lot of people there, right? Left the event, it was fine. I felt fine. The next day, I went to the driving range with 3 of my friends, and we all shared one car. And it was because that period of time, when the early parts of summer was weird. It was like really hot, and then it got really cold. So it was like really cold, and then like I always have trouble transitioning from really hot to really cold, and like my sinuses always play up. So I got sick the next day. I just felt like I had a fever, I had a headache, I wasn't hydrated, I got sick. So 2 days I had a fever, I didn't think about it. Then I want to get tested on Wednesday. Bang, positive. I was lucky it was quite early, get the test done. But yeah, they don't tell you anything. New South Wales Health are trash. They just text you and then they say you're positive, isolate. They don't tell you if it's Omicron. I was fine. Like after 2 days of the headache and then the day I got the positive text, just a bit of like brain fog.
Did you like stay in your room and your parents sort of like knocked on your door and delivered food?
Yeah. It was annoying because like you're a very independent, self-dependent guy as well. You make your own food. You go do everything yourself. Being locked into my room. I mean, you have your own place. You can do whatever you want, right? But being locked in my room, can't leave it. Getting food knocked onto the door and then dropped down. I'm just like, oh, it's so much. Like, it's so long. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want that. I want to be able to go out and do it myself and do my own thing. And then just stuck in the room. There's nothing to do. Just sitting at home, sleeping. Like, I lost like 3-4 kilos because I was just like doing nothing, not eating any food.
How long was it?
Well, New South Wales Health advised back then it was 10 days mandatory isolation, followed by, and if you have no symptoms in the last 3 days, then it's fine. You can leave on day 10. Now it's just 1 week. You just sit down for 1 week in your room and you're fine, regardless.
Were you in your room for 10 days without seeing your parents much?
Yeah, 10 days without barely seeing my parents. Just go shower, because I don't have a shower in my room, so I just go shower, come back, and just stay in my room. It wasn't fun. Yeah, it's not fun, but yeah, you get used to it, but it's not great because, mental health and everything. You're sitting down, you just feel like a lazy bum. So I was just sitting there like, thankfully I was out by Christmas. So I got to spend Christmas with my family as well. But yeah, like getting it early is like a blessing and also like a curse in disguise, because you know how now there's like so many cases a day. Everyone's like trying to get it so they can be free later on and everything. But like now it's only 7 days, and like back then when we got it, it was like everyone was really scared of it. Like, oh shit, you have COVID. Now everyone wants it. I don't know. I feel like it's an inevitability. Everyone will get it. But yeah, it wasn't great. Isolation wasn't great. I don't want to do it again. Like I haven't been back to gym yet because 14 days ISO, and then like my family's at home, so I'm kind of like haven't really been out much either. Like no one would want to. Why would you want to go out and like risk it? But yeah, have you been keeping safe and like not getting COVID away from it all? Any of your siblings get it?
My sister went to work, and then her boss got texted that he was positive for COVID, so he left. So now she's trying to like disinfect everything with another co-worker, and that co-worker got tested positive for COVID. And then this was like on New Year Day or something, on New Year Eve. So my sister's just been in her room for the last 2 days. I don't know if she got tested yet. Maybe she did. Maybe we'll get the results this afternoon. But then on that day, I was like hanging out with her for a bit. And then I went home and she told me about that news. I was like, my throat starts feeling sore. I'm like, do I have Omicron now? But I feel pretty good now. I should get a test, so maybe I'll go get a test after this.
It's too hard. It's so hard to get a test now. Like the lines are ridiculous everywhere, and you'll have to wait like 4 days. So like, I heard of a guy who like pretty much got it. Like he was sick. He was like, yeah, I got it, but he didn't go and get tested. He just refused because there's no point. And he had a flight to catch as well. So I don't know what exactly it is, but like you don't have to get tested if you don't want to, essentially, right? You can just isolate yourself and just do it all yourself and just come out afterwards. Yeah, he's gone now. Yeah, he's gone. He's in America.
Interstate or intercountry?
He's in America. He's in America.
Oh, wow. Oh, damn. Okay.
And the thing is, I don't understand is you have to get tested before. So like, I don't know what he would have done, but like, there's so many ways to navigate your way around it. If you really like,
send yourself a text message. You just send yourself a text message.
Yeah. You honestly probably could. Yeah, because that's actually the way it works. You could just get, like, I could just send you a text message and you change my name to like MedLab or something, just so when the text comes in, just change your name and everything. Because the mishandling test, there's just too much going on, and it's just like, who knows? But 2022, we'll move on to New Year's resolutions. Do you have any New Year's resolutions? Do you make any? I think we talked about it last year. I'm not too sure, but is there anything this year that you like really want to like get down pat?
So like the past few years, I've been so like solidified on like certain milestones and certain results. But this year, I want to try get really locked in on just like enjoying the process, enjoying the journey, really feeling I'm playing with house money and I've already won the game of life, and now everything else is a bonus. But so hard to get into that mindset. So I think that's my goal for 2021. Have it a year of learning how to embrace the journey. I feel like 2021 was just a year of just setting up. Like it was just all like prep. 2020 was like just making a lot of money. 2019 was coming back from America and trying to sort of rebuild everything. But this year I want to have a year of just like learning how to just enjoy life, enjoy the moment, fully be myself and figure out who I am and sort of tap into like the super me state where I'm just like no longer exerting energy because I'm just sort of being myself. That's my goal. How about you, Krishn?
Yeah, I'm actually 100% the same. For the past 2 years, I've been looking ahead. I've always been looking and worrying, more so not looking, worrying about what's ahead and like stressing about what's ahead and you know, letting it get to me, getting anxious, getting this, that, you know, just constant worrying and not really like embracing it. But like now that I've sort of happy with where I am, and not sort of, I'm happy with where I am. I'm happy with what's gonna happen going forward. And hopefully this year is a great year as well. But I really want to like live in the present. I want to make sure that I'm living in the present, living for now, because who knows what's going to happen 2-3 days from now, 5 days from now, 1 year from now. Like if you look back, for me especially, if I look back into what I was doing, it's like you're just worrying so much. Like it's easy for me to say that because in the position that I'm in, and it's, you know, hindsight's 2020, you know what I mean? That's what they always say. But I think now that I can accept and acknowledge that there was a reason for my worrying, or there was like an understanding behind why I felt a certain way about something, this year is just the same. Live in the present, acknowledge your present, and just, yeah, like live for the now. It sounds weird, but it's more so just embracing like each day as like as it is, as opposed to just worrying about 5 days in the future. That, I don't know, that's just for me, because yeah, it's the same thing as you. Like it's just unnecessary. It's just unnecessary stress. And like 2021 was a shit year with lockdown. Let's be real. We were locked down for so long. All we were thinking about was like, oh, what's it going to be like after? What's it going to be like after? Well, the after is now. We just got to live for it. So that's my biggest aspiration and resolution. So be it. I don't like resolutions too much though. They're just there as a place marker, you know, like you got to hold yourself accountable at the end of the day.
You know what's my plan? My plan is I want to just output so much positive energy this year and then say you to anyone that like it's not cool. I'm just going to give out so many positive energy, and then if you do something that pisses me off, I'm like, dude, that's not cool. I disagree with that. Well, that's two different things, but if someone's being a dick, I'm really like, yo, that's not cool. I'm outputting so much positive energy. This year, I'm just going to like, I'm giving up on any sort of competition, any revenges, anything that sort of pissed me off. Everyone in my life is on a clean slate. Everyone, you guys have all been blessed. You guys are now all on a clean slate. I'm giving you guys all positive energy, and like everyone has a free pass this year. But if you f it up, that pass is like blacked for the rest of your life. Or maybe it'll get widened every year. I don't know. We'll see.
just straight black mark and blacklist people from your life just based on like that you like even know that is like one significant thing that happened. You straight block and delete because you don't take shit. 2022 is the year you're not taking shit. You know what I mean? That's the plan. To be honest, same. Yeah, like just focus on that niggling shit. You're right. Just iron that shit out. Just get it out of the way.
There's people who I sort of cut off last year, or people that I'm like, that person's not worth hanging out with. I'm open for a clean slate. I'm open.
Yeah.
I'm going to be.
Would you go at
energy your way? But if it doesn't, like, I'm going to be blunt with you. If you say something that pisses me off, I'm going to like, yo, like, are you just saying that because you can't afford it, or are you saying that because you're jealous? Or like, what's up with that comment? Like, I'm just going to call it out if shit happens. I don't know what's going to happen, but we'll see.
Oh Lord.
I want to become the realest version of myself this year. No more fake Andy, no more like bottling shit up, no more listening. I'm still going to be a listener, but like I'm not going to just like absorb toxic shit. I'm just gonna negate
Expel it.
Expel
Yeah.
it. That's it.
Yeah. 100%, and that's 2022 for you. That's what we're. I'm like sorry. I'm like, oh shit. Okay, let's let's keep it real. You know what I mean? Let's keep it honest and everything. But I rate that. You've been through a lot and everything as well. But yeah, that's our 2022 resolutions. There you go. Is there anything else? What else has happened? What else has occurred recently?
Jake Paul beat Tyron Woodley again.
Oh, that was shambles. That was shambles.
Dude,
Like that.
Logan Paul KSI again.
Oh shit! What?
So I'm pretty keen for that. I think I saw it as an Instagram post on Logan Paul or his Twitter. But I think they're going at it again, and I think it's a smart move on KSI's part because he's been out of the loop. So this is a way to instantly refresh his sort of cloud. Logan Paul wants to get that win finally and prove everyone wrong. So I think it's a really smart move, and I'm keen to watch that. Where's the Jake Paul, Tyron Woodley round 2? I didn't actually watch that at all. But this case by Logan Paul was like, oh wow, let's link up Krishn and let's watch that.
Yeah, I didn't watch Tyron and Jake Paul either because like, what's the point? Like everyone knew it was going to end one way and one way only. It's just not enticing. But I'm looking at this Instagram post. It doesn't specifically say what it is. It just says it's an announcement on the 4th.
Oh,
so it's a few days from now.
Is there like a sort of poster with 2 of them next to each other?
Yeah, there's a poster and it just says the final chapter official announcement. Honestly, if it's clickbait and if they're like releasing like imagine they just release like an NFT or something, like a project. That's so smart. That is so smart. But like I feel for KSI, like are you familiar with the Sidemen and like what they do and everything?
I sort of see their videos and clips and like their Tinder swipe left and swipe right.
Dude, they're going crazy. They're going mental. They got
like 10 mil per like video or something.
They're making money because they're building businesses. So they have a restaurant business now. They have a vodka business. They got the clothing line, and then on top of that, each one are doing their own thing.
So is that like a Sidemen restaurant, a Sidemen vodka?
Well, they're not naming it Sidemen. They're like giving it like each individual names, but it's a brand, like it's an affiliate brand of the Sidemen. So they'll be like, it's called XIX vodka. It's called Sides, as in like, when you order sides. So it's like, that's their restaurant chain. It's just crazy because that's exactly like they've been like a brand, like a group for a while, and their brand has always just been the group. And now they're like going into so many different businesses, and they're smart. They have an audience for it. People are going to buy it. And it's just such a, like, they're going to, like, imagine being that rich. To just make yourself richer, you just go and get more businesses and tap into markets that are so easy to tap into. And, just the money just flows in. Just think about that. My God, like, what a life to live. They're on the highest of the highs.
Seeing like the Sidemen and that cool group of friends that are able to do cool shit, like even like the Avengers and like Marvel, I think I've always wondered like, how does that happen? How does that come together? Like, because like I'm in different friend circles, but sort of there isn't this dynamic. And then my hypothesis, I want to get your thoughts. Like, when as a silent listener and going through stage 1 and stage 2 of figuring myself, like it's impossible to create that environment. But as I'm coming into myself, and if I'm blunt, I'll be like, yo, Krishn, like start making TikToks of you making coffee, of you being a barista doing cool shit. Like start doing that and start drawing out your vision. And if I was more blunt, maybe like then all of a sudden now I'm able to lift people up and sort of create like a cool sort of circle. But if I'm just silently listening, letting each person sort of do their own thing and sort of not really putting my voice out there and be like, yo, Krishn, start doing something with your coffee dream, then nothing would happen. It would just become this boring group of friends. What's your thoughts on that hypothesis?
It's an interesting hypothesis, but sometimes not everyone wants to get lifted on that level, and not everyone, and whether or not it's, sometimes they might not be willing to, they might not be ready to, they might just look at you and be like, "I know that's sick, you do," but like respectfully, stay in your fucking lane. Like respectfully, like sit down. This isn't your life. This is my life. I'll and do it how I want to do it. You know what I mean? Like, that's how it can come across. You have great intentions, but if you come across in a way that just makes it seem like you're the biggest person in the room, like, what are you doing? Like it can just come off as just it just doesn't come off right to a lot of people, you know what I mean? But if you say it in a way that's like, like enthusiastic about it and like, let's do this, let's get it going and everything, or like, I mean, everyone's different. You're not going to have the same dynamic with each individual friend. Like you said, you're in so many different circles, so like you gotta like understand as to how to say it, to who to say it to, you know what I mean? Like, some people need the kick. Me, I'll accept the kick, I'll accept the comforting words, I'll accept whatever. Like, I'm indifferent. Other people, where they have sort of very strong personal views on certain things, and they don't like to hear the word no, they don't like to hear the word why, they don't like to be questioned, because for them it's their safe space. What they're doing is their safe space, and then outsiders don't understand, so who are you to question what I'm doing, you know what I mean? So yeah, it does depend.
On that topic, I want to get your thoughts on something, and that's another thing. Like, I realized that I have the credibility to sort of share my point of view, because I'm always asking for other people's point of views. I'm always trying to learn, and I'm never like sort of thinking I'm the best. So growing up and getting to where I was, I've always been put in situations where people are telling me how to live my life, and just as you said, like, they've been like telling me this is the right way to do things, and it was like this, like, I got burnt out, I wasn't myself, I was being molded, and as a result I went the complete opposite, where like I don't tell anything to people myself, or like I don't tell any of my friends how to live their life. I just let them do what they do, and I went the complete opposite. I just don't say anything. So I want to find the balance. Do you think that is the best way, or do you think there is a balance, and what is the balance? What's your thoughts?
There's definitely a balance, because there's only so much you can take, right? Like, if someone's just constantly barraging at you, no, like, you can only take so much, right? And that's exactly what you said you've been feeling, like, just constant no, and then that's what drives you to be like, I'll do it. That's what I mean. You thrive off people telling you no, so that it gets in your own head. You're like, nah, I'm gonna prove people wrong, right? I'm gonna do this. But yeah, I personally, like, you just got to find that balance. You got to find that balance as to what works and what doesn't, and being able to see things as constructive criticism, as opposed to that's intentions. Intentions are the biggest thing. I feel intentions are the biggest thing, because it is very, it depends on the situation, the intentions and everything, like you said. But yeah, for me, I'd take it in. I'd really understand and try and see where they're coming from. But otherwise, I'd feel like, nah, see you later. Like, I'm not listening to that. Like, if someone was not below me, but if someone was like trying to give me advice from their point of view, and I know exactly what they're doing, and they try to act like they know what I'm doing, like, no, you don't understand. I mean, but like, I would just nod my head, acknowledge it, and be like, okay, I respect that. Well, I respect that's your way of thinking, but I don't agree with it. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I'm gonna
I've been quite good at. It's not. I wouldn't say it's conflict resolution or negotiate or mitigation, whatever. It's just more so just like, I just listen, I understand, and be like, that's your opinion. I don't respect it, but it's your opinion. You know what I mean? Like, that's one thing I've started doing, and be like, you know how they always say, oh, it's my opinion, you gotta respect it. No, I don't have to respect it. It's your opinion. I don't respect it though. You know what I mean? Like, it's your opinion. That's fine. You can have it. I don't respect it.
Do you say it, or do you absorb it? And
I've said it once. I'll be like, yeah, that's fine. That's your opinion. You can have that. You're entitled to your opinion. I don't respect it, but that's me. I've said it once, and it was like, and like they were like, what? I don't expect it. But I was just like, yeah, no, it is what it is. Like, people have their opinions, but it just, if I don't agree, I don't agree.
I've been trying to say that same thing in like a more direct way, because when you say it like that, it sort of comes off as you're trying to be defensive. But if you're like, I don't agree because of this, this, and this, what are your thoughts? Then it's, I think, it sort of leaves that, doesn't leave the untied sort of open looped sort of conversation. You tie the knot and you sort of share your point of view. Two, you're less sort of taking it in. What's your thoughts? And
Yeah, of course. I mean, it depends on it depends on the situation. If it's been like from when I did it, it was like an ongoing conversation. We were sharing ideas back and forth, and then we weren't going to come to any middle ground or common ground. So I was like, yeah, no, that's fine. You can have that. I just don't respect it. It was actually with my old boss. It was the funniest thing. He was telling me about how he's and how she is anti-vax and everything. No, that's fine. I don't respect. No, that's fine. It's your opinion. I don't agree with it, but like I can't shift it. Like it's your way of thinking, and at the end of the day, that is what it is. I don't respect it, but I respect that you have that opinion. You know what I mean? So yeah, you're 100% right. Because if you just say it bluntly at the start of a conversation or like after they say something, it doesn't really leave any room for any white flags. You know, the truce or the.
I would only sort of disagree with things that are sort of black and white. Open things like if you think the world's flat, if you believe in different religions, different gods, if you're vax or anti-vaxxers, those I see the other person's point of view and I agree with their point of view, and I don't think my point of view is sort of more than them, and so like I don't argue with that because like I don't have a need to argue for that. But if it's something like this is something I need to say more. I was like, I remember the other day I was like, yo, I think like a Lamborghini Urus is like pretty cool. And the comment was like, no, that's a waste of money. And like stuff like that, that's less black and white, where it's like, do you think it's a waste of money because you've owned it and you know that for the value versus the price is not worth it? Or are you saying that because you cannot afford it? Like, that's what I was saying now.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, yeah, that's actually very fair.
Do you believe that you can judge if something is valuable if you haven't owned it personally? If they say no to that, then I'm like, I think that's stupid. I think you have to own something to then have a opinion on if it's worth it. And if they still don't agree with them, I think they're a bit too ignorant to be in my circle. Is that too ruthless, Krishn, or what's your thoughts?
That's very ruthless.
Okay.
Very ruthless because you're skinning people based on their opinions at that point, and it's just kind of like, shit, okay, that's a bit of a rough one. Like, you know what I mean? Like, one of my good friends isn't like believes in a lot of different things that I do, but we're still good friends, and it's just banter at that point. It just becomes like it's just funny. Like we just argue between each other, and it just creates for like funny moments as well. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can have that's what makes people friends. Like their differences and then their common things that they share in common as well. So like, I personally think that's a bit ruthless because, you know, if they think it's a waste of money, they think it's a waste of money. You can delve into why they might think so. Like you said, it's actually a good point. Like, if you've never owned something, how can you deem it to be a waste of money? And after that, they respond, yeah, about this. But that's what arguing's for. That's what friends are. That's what friends do. They argue. I think it's a bit ruthless. I think that's a bit ruthless. I will say that. I will say that's a bit ruthless. But context, and the situations, it changes for everything.
Great conversation, Krishn. Actually, let me get your thoughts on this last topic. What is the perfect podcast length? When we go for more than 45 minutes, is it too long because A, sort of it's getting a bit exhausting for you, or two, you actually think the audience would sort of switch off, and if they see a video that's too long, they wouldn't click onto it, or see it's something else?
B is the biggest one for me, because I think of it as if I was consuming a podcast. It depends though, because if you have a podcast and you have like a guest on and it's like an hour episode, you're like, oh yeah, they have a guest, that'll be interesting, I want to see what they have to say. But if it's like, and if it's not a guest, but if there's a lot of topics, you know, like I've actually stopped listening to a lot of podcasts recently. I used to listen to like the regular ones that I'd have, and it'd all just be like 40 minute, 30 minute, 30 minute. And those round numbers, people look at it and they immediately see a round number and they're like, oh, it takes 5 minutes of my time to watch this video. I'll quickly watch it. It's 5 minutes of my time, you know what I mean? And if they see something 10 minutes of my time, 10 minutes. If they see something 46 minutes and 49 minutes or something, it's just like, it's just weird. I don't know. It's the way that the brain processes things. Everyone's different, you know what I mean? Like, I know a lot of people as well share the same way. I've talked to this about one of my friends as well. One of my friends is like to me, I can't watch YouTube videos as much anymore because you know how like we're seeing the rise in short form media content. People's attention spans are literally now limited to like 30 seconds to 2-minute videos that they see on TikTok. They see a bang, next song, bang, next song, bang, next song. To the point where my phone was like, if I see a YouTube video that's 10 minutes long, I have to watch it on 2 times speed because it's just too much for me to, or it's just too long for me. And I was like taken aback. I was like, what? But it makes sense because people are they're getting more standardized. The standardized form of content is short form, fast, accessible, easy, Vine, TikTok, that sort of content, you know what I mean? So for me, when I look at a podcast, it like obviously I factor in a lot of different things, but it depends. It depends on the podcast. It depends on how good it is. I mean, I can just, if it's too long, I'll listen to half of it one day and half another day, you know what I mean? Or if it's like doing something, like, because you got to find the time. You need to find the time to be able to sit down and listen to it or like really absorb, especially if it's a guest or if they're talking about concepts which are quite in-depth, deep, and requires higher order. Not that we do that all the time either. We just talk about random shit sometimes, right? But if it does require higher thought processing skills, and you know, sometimes they might need to like sit down for a bit and then schedule time to listen to it, as opposed to just listen to it when you're cleaning, you know what I mean? Because they're not really listening to it then, it's just background noise. So it depends how everyone consumes it. For me personally, I'll look at the time and then based on that, I'll make a judgment immediately. It's so bad. It's honestly bad because it could be a great episode, but that's how I immediately see. I see the time, and then I'll make a judgment as to how I'm going to listen to it. So that's me. What about you? What do you feel?
I think I agree. Shorter form content is the thing, but when it comes to long videos, like I think if someone wants to watch a podcast and they see it's like 50 minutes versus 30 minutes versus 45 versus an hour, it doesn't really make a difference. But if you're saying that if the algorithm were to change towards longer form content, you'd be willing to film long content, then that's understandable. And you're sort of doing this for what you think is sort of the algorithm's pushing for. And I think that's sort of the right mindset. But if it was sort of like out of like exhaustion or like it's just you personally didn't want to go over 45 minutes, it wasn't like for a different reason, that would be a different conversation where I'd adapt to that. I'd be like, okay, that's the reason. Okay, let's adapt to that reason. But if it was honestly just for the viewers, then I see where you're coming from, Krishn.
Yeah. Like it depends for everyone, viewers and then the content creators themselves. So, yeah. I
think this is perfect. I really appreciate you doing this with me. This is Happy New Year. And yeah.
Yeah, thank you everyone for listening. It's been a great episode and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.